Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, in today's video we're talking about the humble command grab, perhaps the greatest invention of fighting games. Now, to call it for what it is, the grappler archetype in fighting games can be hated on sometimes. A lot of people don't like grapplers, but even the most ardent grappler hater would have to admit that there's something primal about landing a command grab. If you're on the receiving end, hey, yeah, sure, it sucks. But if you're the one doing it, it's just eminently satisfying. It stirs a dark urge inside you that makes you want to grab someone again and again and again. And with that said, this video is basically a celebration of command grabs, and I want to highlight to you some of the greatest command grabs in fighting game history. If for no other reason, then command grabs are super cool. So all that now said, let's start with the first command grab of our video. Now, to start this off, let's start with, I guess, the main event almost, right? What is the most famous command grab in fighting game history? Naturally, that is Zangief's spinning pile driver. And this has been around since the start, since Street Fighter 2, and every iteration of every game he's ever been around since, there is always some form of the spinning pile driver. And why is it so good? It's simplistic. Like, it's a gigantic man who's much taller and several hundred pounds heavier than you, spinning you in the air and then dunking you on your head. It's about as easy as it gets in telling you a visually effective move that hurts a lot. And, like some of the other grabs that we'll cover later in this video, it evolves, which is one of the best parts. The spinning pile driver is more than just, one of the moves he does. It also bleeds into his various super moves. The super moves that he has, many of them are evolved or advanced versions of it. Like, say, his Street Fighter 6 critical art. Comes with a clothesline, a little bit of showboating, and then when he takes you up, you're spinning. And the pile driver basically like nukes the ground as you hit. Or other famous versions like the infamous protecting Russian skies of Street Fighter 4. Maybe it's a little bit more airborne to start off with, but in essence, it's an evolution of the spinning pile driver. He gets you in place and dunks you on your head. Other classic supers like Potemkin Buster, same deal. Maybe there's a little bit of prelude beforehand, to warm people up, but in the end, it always comes down to that spinning pile driver. Combination of big man dunking you on your head always works out. Now, next up, staying in Street Fighter, let's talk Poison. Now, I know you don't think of Poison as a command grab character. She did have one in Street Fighter 4, though. And to call for what it is, as a command grab, like competitively, it's not very good. It's one of the ones where after the super animation starts, you can just jump it after the fact. So competitively, it's not good. So why is it on this list? Well, the reason why it's on the list
You have been kicked in the testicles.
is because it's just really cool. It's very satisfying to land. You know what? That's all it needs to be. Next up, let's come to Iron Tager from Blazblue. Iron Tager, in a lot of ways, was the thinking man's grappler. Well, you know what? Actually, every grappler is the thinking man's grappler, but Tager just a little bit more than some. So he does have the infamous Tager driver, and it's your big boy command grab. He tosses you up like you're nothing, and he breaks you over his knee. And that's great. Fantastic, even. But where it gets a little extra fun is its utility. Because if you hold it, you may notice here a little bit of a vortex. Many of his moves have a magnetism effect where if you get hit by him, you are now magnetized. And certain moves can pull you in, and one of those is the Tager driver. So if Tager has it planned out correctly, he can command grab you from almost the full screen. So you really have to watch out, you really have to pay attention, because it gets extra deadly. And naturally as well, many of his super moves are enhanced versions of the Tager driver. Like the Genesic Emerald Tager driver. And this bad boy here also has that magnetism effect. So if you're not paying attention, that could be your life. And obviously visually much more impressive. Also, Blazblue being Blazblue, You can go all the way. This is the ultimate final Tager driver, the Astral Finish. And this time, he's taking you out into space and dunking you all the way back to Earth, and you better believe that is a KO. So the Tager driver, nothing much to say other than it's one of the more legendary command grabs of fighting games, and Tager is one hell of a character. Now let's talk T-Zoc. T-Zoc, he's another big boy, right? He's got a lot of those command grabs that you would expect. And while these are cool, these are not the ones we're talking about. We're going to be talking about a super, the Big Fall, because it's exactly as advertised, really. He takes you up the top, smashes you against the screen, and dunks you down. It is admittedly somewhat simplistic, but I would say effective in what it's trying to portray. The speed lines and everything just really sell the impact. And then there's also the alternative version. So in the King of Fighters franchise, T-Zoc's evil opponent, evil foe, deadliest enemy, the King of Dinosaurs, is in it. And there's some weird conspiracy theory people that say that King of Dinosaurs is T-Zoc, but you know what, to that I say, hey, they got different names, dummies. So they couldn't be the same person. But he does share the Big Fall. Now, being a different person entirely, the Big Fall has a different name. It's the Super Zetsumetsu Hurricane, but it is the Big Fall in essence. In that he'll take you up and spin you up something fierce and come crashing down big time. And if you're willing to burn just a little bit of extra meter on it, it gets extra visually impressive as he'll break your screen. He'll break your monitor. And guess what? You're paying for that, not him. So the Big Fall, no matter what game, no matter what person is doing it, is always big. Now, next up, we're talking the Giant Swing. So the Giant Swing is a fighting game classic. You may find it done in other games by other characters, and I know at least some of you probably associate the move with King from Tekken. The thing about that is, well, King stole it from Wolf. Wolf did it first and Wolf did it best. So we're going to be using Wolf as our example. Now Wolf, he's a wrestler's wrestler. Even by fighting game standards, fighting games are rotten with wrestlers. Wolf does a lot, right? Some of the classics of all time, you can definitely find Wolf doing a lot of these moves. So what makes his Giant Swing special, specifically? Other than it's a big man tossing you around like a rag doll. Well, his carries just a little load of threat that you won't find in some of the other games. Like if you're near a wall, you better watch out because you're hitting that wall for extra damage. But Virtua Fighter, specifically the game he's in, the Giant Swing gets a little bit more deadly. This is what makes his extra scary. Because on top of it just being a big throw that tosses you around like nothing, right? Depending on the stage you're in, it could be an instant kill. It can be a fatality, effectively. Ring outs mean you automatically lose in Virtua Fighter, and there is very few moves tailored to ring somebody out, like Wolf's Giant Swing. So for example here, this is indeed a walled stage, and if you get hit in the wall and, take extra damage, you know how 3D fighting games tend to work, right? Wall equal death. But what equals death even more than the wall is going over the wall. Some stages have even lower walls yet. These stages, the threat of ring out is very high. And for Wolf, that means he doesn't need to be as far away to throw you over that little dinky wall and then ring you out. And generally, if you're just not a fan of the water or getting wet, Wolf is not going to be a character you like fighting, because he'll dunk you into the drink non-stop. That is why the Giant Swing is such an amazing move. It is a great move visually, like it's cool. If you watch pro wrestling at all, you'll see people like, say, Claudio Castagnoli do it, all that kind of stuff, right? Cool move. And in the context of Virtua Fighter specifically, and the unique rule set of Virtua Fighter with all the fun things like ring outs, one Giant Swing equals potentially one death. It's a very tricky move like that. Now, I guess let's keep the wrestler theme going. When we're talking about command grabs, well, we're going to hit a lot of wrestlers, right? And next up, Ladiva from Granblue Fantasy Versus. So Ladiva, command grab character, fair to say. Some sort of spinning, I don't want to call it pile driver, don't want to hit the copyright, but spinning slam moves in Ladiva's arsenal to be sure. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about her super skybound art. Because when it comes to wrestling in command grabs, Ladiva gets it in a way a lot of characters don't. Because we're bringing in the ropes, we're in the ring, and here's the ref. And 1, 2, Oh, didn't quite make it. But that's the beauty of this move. If the character has enough health, they'll always kick out right before the 3 count. But if they don't have that health, well then, that 3 count is final. And then you simply win the game. So I'm in training mode right now, so it doesn't happen that way, but you get the idea, right? And that's just such a cool cosmetic thing, that if you actually kill the enemy, then it's a proper 3 count, you won the match. How cool is that? Next on our list, we're going to talk about the move called Withering Surface from Vice. Vice is our cannibalistic, chiropractically challenged evil secretary from the King of Fighters series. Has quite a lot of command grabs. One of the smaller characters in fighting game history that can just easily dunk you around like you're literally nothing, because that's kind of her deal. And this move has always stuck out to me. So the move here is a flip power bomb and a multiple power bombs. Speaks for itself, I think, right? Subtlety is not on the menu at this point. Now, Vice's moveset kind of wildly changes from game to game, depending where she's in exactly, but no matter which game she's in, the passion for dunking people is always there. And when it comes to just the dunk, just going powerbomb into powerbomb into powerbomb into powerbomb, I'm just a really big fan. Now, of course, how can we talk about this video and not have the infamous Potemkin Buster? As far as command grabs go, it is maybe the least elegant of all of them. It's just simply going up and breaking you over his back. There's no technique even. Like Tiger breaks you over his knee. Zangief has a nice little spin to it. Potemkin just crushes you like nothing. So, you know, Potemkin been in a lot of games, right? And the Potemkin Buster has followed him from game to game to game. I think in Strive specifically, being the most modern game, it has the most, yes, visual, best look to it. And not much to say other than it's fantastic for what it does. But of course, like some of the other characters in this video, there's an evolved version of this move if you want to spend just a little bit extra meter. And that is the heavenly Potemkin Buster. And this one, well, it speaks for itself. Pretty good move, I would say. Once again, subtlety, not so much, but it doesn't need to be. He's a grappler's grappler. Now, next up, we gotta talk the Mexican Typhoon. This move, once again here, a lot of these aren't like highly subtle or anything, right? But jumping up, spinning you to something fierce, slamming you down to the ground, it works, it works, it works. And like so many of the other grapples, there's variations. You know, one where you can like stay on the ground just a little bit here, maybe get some mix-ups. We got super versions if you want to spend a little meter, and you can find this game the game as well. And Street Fighter 4 being Street Fighter 4, there's also the Ultras, right? And the fun fact is as well that the Mexican Typhoon is a generational move. People of the Hawk family, Lily Hawk, just like T-Hawk, can pull off the Mexican Typhoon to various degrees. She's maybe not as skilled as T-Hawk at doing it. You know, give her a couple more years, she'll stick the landing, right? But the Mexican Typhoon is just one hell of a move. It has all the things you need for a good command grab. You're up in the air, you spin around in some way, shape, or form, you dunk the enemy. It's pretty good. So last up, I want to pick something a little more obscure for you here. This is an older game called Dan Kuga. And Dan Kuga, we have the character called Gonzalez. And Gonzalez, he's an oddball of a character, right? He's got the raccoon skin hat, he's got like the judo outfit and the big sideburns and all that, so naturally he's a Russian, right? And he's definitely the game's grappler. He's got all sorts of crazy grabs, like electric flipping grab. That's already really good, right? But he has perhaps what is the single most impressive grab on this entire video, which is why we're saving him for last. Now, Gonzalez, he has like the big spinning move a lot of characters has. And his is a lot more electric too, right? But that's not even it. Let's go even a little bit further than the heavenly Potemkin Buster. Gonzalez is a big fan of physics, a big fan of gravity, and here he's going to let that do all the work for him. Yeah, that's right. He will just simply judo toss you into space and let your heat up on re-entry and the eventual landing do its job for him. Like, that is the essence of grappling, if there ever was one to me. And that's why on our illustrious list, we're saving him for last, just because he's that wild. And that's the video. So a good deal of these you probably knew about, but this is just a celebration of command grabs in general. They're really cool, even for me all the way back in the day when I was a kid. It was one of the things that attracted me to fighting games because I just thought they were cooler than even the regular special move. If there's any command grabs that were not listed in the video that you feel deserve a little bit of love, by all means, post them in the comments below. But otherwise, that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.